MCP. In this video, we're going to talk about what it is, how we use it, and what the future may hold for Model Context Protocol, because this is an open source protocol from Anthropic that helps us to build agentic systems with large language models. Now, for most of us, that means that we have it installed on our laptops where, well, we have an agent. So this could be the Claude desktop, or it could be Amazon Q CLI using a tiny little MCP server that we have on our machine that allows this agentic capability to do something more and to have connections to the outside world. Let's take a look at this in action. Over on my laptop, I have here got QCLI installed with an MCP server. And I can, of course, use this to help me with various tasks on my computer by typing in natural language questions. I'm going to ask, what does the AWS docs say about Amazon Bedrock? Amazon Bedrock being a new and evolving piece of technology, so we want the latest information. So I'm going to press enter on that. It starts to think, and QCLI will decide that it wants to use its MCP capability to be able to go and look up information inside the documentation. It's saying here that it wants to go and do a search inside the documentation for Amazon Bedrock. I'm going to say yes to that. I give my permission for it to go and connect to services external from my own machine. It's saying it's found something, it wants to go read that, and then it's going to hopefully generate a response back for us with the latest on Amazon Bedrock. So that's an example there of using an agent, in this case QCLI, on my own machine, and it's connecting to this data source through an MCP server. We have a whole bunch of different MCP servers available. If I just show you here, we have in the GitHub repository, which is AWS Labs MCP, a link of course will be in the description below. We've got a list of lots of different MCP servers, most of them designed to run on your own machine to be able to help you do this kind of workflow. Once you've downloaded these, if you want to configure it to work with QCLI, you can open up the MCP JSON file here, as I've done here, and just put in the details of how QCLI can work with MCP to connect to this resource. This is the kind of thing that a lot of us are doing right now. We're using MCP essentially as a plug-in architecture for software that runs on our own machine. Let's split apart these components so we can talk about MCP in a little bit more detail. We have the agent over here. This is our MCP client, and on the other side we have the MCP server. Now, I want to explain to you why I'm so excited about this and what makes this different from the kinds of ways that we are building agents, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. Things are moving so fast. In the old days, we would have our agent talk to a set of tools, and the configuration for those tools would be sitting inside of the agent itself. Now, this configuration, the name, the description, the arguments, or the schema of how to talk to these tools are stored in natural language. They're natural language so that the large language model inside of the agent can read the description of the tools and figure out when it wants to use what tool in the agentic workflow. But this description, this configuration being over here in the agent, really tightly couples these components together. And in many cases, the agent and the tool will probably be part of the same code base. But with MCP, things change. This configuration comes over into the MCP server itself. And so this configuration now lives with the functionality. And MCP is what exposes it to the agent. So the agent at runtime can say, list your tools, tell me what tools you have available, and that data can flow back. And then the agent can decide when it wants to use a certain tool, and at that point it has all the information so it knows how to run it, and it can make that call to the MCP server. So it's this decoupling of these components which is so exciting, of the way that we can build the architectures for our agentic systems. Now, We also need to point out that it's not just about tools. We also have the ability inside of the protocol to have resources. So these are files or data. We also have prompts. So you can have prompt templates as part of the MCP server. So the MCP server can tell the agent how it wants to be interacted with. There's lots of flexibility in what you can store and what you can do inside of the MCP server. So that seems like a lot of complexity to just make what is essentially a plug-in system for agents running on your computer. But that is not the future vision for MCP. The future vision for MCP is much bigger than that. It is to have your MCP clients somewhere else and your MCP servers essentially somewhere on the internet, most likely in the cloud. The protocol itself is opinionated about two different transport standards. Standard I/O, which is why we end up with all of those MCP servers installed on our machines, but also streamable HTTP. And this is what's going to allow us to decouple the server from the hardware, from our laptop, and stick it up in the cloud somewhere. This is the future vision of MCP, and it's what people are working on right now. Now, this disconnected nature means that we have a couple of things that we need to solve around identity and around security, but the protocol gives us ways to cope with that so that we can end up with a future state which looks like this. Our agentic systems, whether they're chatbots, whether they're data processing pipelines, whatever they are, these agents can be connected into MCP servers, which are remotely hosted. It can be connected into other agents. The MCP protocol binding all of this stuff together with our users using our awesome agentic systems powered by MCP. I hope you found this introduction to MCP useful, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please do give it a like, because it helps other people find videos just like this one. If you want to see more videos like this, then of course, subscribe to this channel and don't forget to press the bell so that you get notified when new videos are published. Thanks for joining me on this journey into MCP, and I will see you in another video really soon.